everybody, Leonard Kinsey here. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own tonic water. I've been drinking a lot of gin and tonics. I really like them, but the store-bought tonic water, it just wasn't doing it for me anymore. The Canada Dry stuff is too sweet, or the diet stuff is just taste artificial. They all taste kind of like medicine. There's stuff like Fever Tree, which is really good, but it's also really expensive. So I decided to make my own syrup. And I've spent a few months perfecting this recipe, and what you're seeing now is the fruit of all my my labor. It was really difficult, you know, drinking all those gin and tonics, trying to figure out the best recipe. So, alright, so we're going to start this off. What we got, the main ingredient is this, I think it's pronounced Cinchona Bark. Anyway, this is the bark of a tree. This is what adds the bitterness. So this is your main ingredient. Without this, you're not going to get anything that tastes even remotely like tonic water. And what we want is a 1/4 cup of that, and I'm going to dump it in here into 3 cups of water. I tried 4 cups and ended up having to spend a really long time boiling the water off because it was just too much water and the syrup wasn't very thick. So, alright, so we've got that. Second ingredient is lemongrass. And again, I will put online, I'll put links to where to buy all this stuff. I bought it all online. So I'm going to just do a pinch of lemongrass. It's a fairly big pinch, and I'm going to grind it up in my hand as I'm dropping it in there, just to release all the flavor. Alright. And then the next ingredient is allspice berries. I'm going to put, I don't know, 5 or 6 berries in there, just kind of, you know, well, maybe that's more than 5 or 6. So that's how many I'm going to put in there, whatever that is. Alright, so now, excuse me, get this little stirring thing. Alright, so now stir it all around. Okay, stir, and basically I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then I'm going to let it boil for 20 minutes. So, yeah, I'll see you in 20 minutes. Well, it's been 20 minutes and this thing has been boiling in here. You want to see what it looks like? It's kind of like a dark tea sort of thing. Alright, so I'm going to take this, and I've got this little thing rigged up here. This is a strainer with cheesecloth taped to the underside of it. And I'm going to pour this into there. Alright. Okay, so now we've, you know, got a liquid that is free of sediment, hopefully. Alright, so I've strained out the bark and cleaned out the pot, and I'm going to dump this right back into the same pot. You could use a different pot, obviously, if you really wanted to. I just didn't feel like it. So, now we add the other ingredients. We have a cup of sugar in here. We have a 1/4 cup of, actually it's a tablespoon of citric acid. So 1 tablespoon of citric acid. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I don't know why the salt's in there. Citric acid just gives it like a citrusy flavor. So we're going to go ahead and turn the heat back on and dump this in there. And then all we really want to do is just mix it until it dissolves. So I'm just going to stir it. And if you see right now, go ahead and look in there, it's cloudy. And what you want to do is stir it until it turns clear. And that means that all the sugar is dissolved into the liquid. It doesn't take very long. As you can see, it is now clear. Alright, so that's it. It's all dissolved. So I'm going to turn the heat off once again. Now we bottle. And I've got these little bottles here that I'm going to use. Alright, probably not the safest thing in the world to be Putting boiling hot liquid straight in the glass, but whatever. Fuck it. So I'm going to put a little funnel in there. Going to just take this and just start dumping it in there. Alright, go to this one. And that is it. There you go. We've now made our tonic. So I'm going to cap these, I'm going to stick them in the fridge, then I'm going to come back and I'm going to make a drink. It's going to be awesome. Alright, so the syrup is cooled down and it's now time to make a drink. I have 4 pieces of ice in here. I'm going to take a quarter of a lime and squeeze that in. This isn't much different than the Kinsey Gin and Tonic that I posted before. The main difference is the syrup. Alright, so I'm actually going to add the gin first. 2 ounces of Kinsey Gin, of course. Alright, dump that in there. Now comes the tonic syrup. I'm only going to add a very little amount. I'm going to add 0.75 ounces. Alright, you might want to add less. Depends on how bitter you want it. Again, so this is bitter. 0.75 ounces is very bitter and not very sweet, which is how I like it. If you want it less bitter if you want it less bitter, then you're going to have to add more sugar to keep it just as sweet, because you're going to want to put in less syrup than this, like 0.5 ounces of syrup, and then add more sugar to maintain the same level of sweetness. It's something you're just going to have to experiment with, but this is the way I like it. Alright, so I dump that in, then I take the soda water from the soda stream, this is just water that's been carbonated, and I put in 4 ounces, which means filling this all the way to the top. Dumping it in. Maybe I'll add another little splash there. Pretty much just getting it up to the top of the glass. Alright, then I take a stir and give it a little bit of a stir here. You're going to see that what's different from a regular gin and tonic is it is slightly brown, I guess. It's a little bit yellow. That's just from the syrup, because the color of the syrup is that color, and that's from the bark and whatever. It's cool. So now I will take a sip of it. It's just right. It's very bitter, and it's not too sweet, and the gin doesn't get covered up by it. I don't know. It's great. It's really a wonderful drink. I don't know how to describe it. It's completely awesome, and I'll never go back to a regular gin and tonic again. And when I do, I just cry and cry and cry. Actually, when I do go to a bar and get a gin and tonic now, I basically just get like gin with a little teeny splash of tonic. So, you know, maybe I've ruined myself, but this is just great. It's an awesome drink, and I highly recommend it. So, cheers.